Gone Fishin'. Today, your hosts Bob Kirkpatrick and TJ Schwanke fish for midsummer pike.
Whoa! Welcome to Gone Fishing. My name is Bob Kirkpatrick.
And I'm TJ Schwanke.
We got a monster on here.
We're fishing Crean Lake in northern Saskatchewan. We just pulled into this spot and
found this little patch of cabbage weed, and TJ hooked up with a monster. He's got a little problem with this line. He's on. Wow. Ooh. Don't move. You want me to chase him with the boat?
I think I got him just about licked here.
If you can get a little closer, I'll get that weed off your line.
Hey, he's 20 pounds anyways.
He doesn't like the boat.
Unreal.
Okay, straight up, slowly. Can't even get my hand around him. He's huge.
Maybe get the net for this one. You think?
No, I'll get him. That net is, I had to look at that net, and it isn't very good.
All right! That's a fish.
That is a pike.
I'm just going to grab the Normark scale. We'll see what he actually weighs.
Now my hand is there, and his had hooks in there. I just as soon get that hook. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. He isn't even hooked that bad.
I'll get the... Well, how come I'm shaking so much, Bob?
That is one monster fish.
Unbelievable.
That's what we're here for. I hope there's lots more of those where this will come from.
Let's just get a weight on him. 19 pounds, 2 ounces. That's a heck of a pike.
I think we better get a couple of quick pictures of this guy.
We'll get him back.
You got him?
You bet.
Quick pictures of this guy and get him back in the water.
Doesn't get any better than this. Did you see that one that was just under the boat, Bob?
He was huge.
He had to have been 4 feet long. He just sat there. I jigged that bait a couple times and he took a whack at it but missed.
You know, I can see a lot more of the fall since I put these sunglasses on. This water, now that the sun's out nice and high, and this water is so clear, you can see down there a long ways.
Oh, man, that was a big fish. They're just sitting right in this cabbage weed. It's growing out of about 9 or 10 feet.
Well, we're getting lots of follows, and they don't seem to be hitting it very often, so just got to keep changing baits, changing until we get something that works.
Classic summertime location, deeper weed beds.
We're fishing right on the top of a bunch of cabbage weed here. Now, this lake doesn't have a lot of cabbage weed in it, so the spots are kind of hard to find, but once you find them, the pike are sure congregated in there.
We're just getting off the edge of it now, so let's back up and get right over top of it again.
Okay. We started out using great big flashy spinner baits, and we had a lot of follows. You want me to get that one?
All right, get it.
A lot of follows. You could see this water's nice and clear. We could see them follow the bait right up, but they wouldn't hit it. Once in a while they'd bump it and we couldn't catch anything. So we switched. We kept changing baits, and now we're using a small crankbaits, and they seem to be going after that one pretty good. Obviously, it's representing something that they're eating.
It's funny because summertime fish are your most active type fish, and that's usually the time of year to use the bigger baits. But some days are just like this.
Well, that could change in an hour. If they stop hitting these small baits, we'll keep switching until we get something that works, and may end up using those big spinner baits yet.
You bet.
They were chasing it. They were interested, but just not enough to hit.
He doesn't know he's let go yet.
Give him a squeeze in the tail. He'll go. So it's a good idea to change baits often until you get something that works. Don't get stuck in a rut with one particular bait.
Well, just because the hook worked here yesterday certainly doesn't mean it's going to work today.
Oh, there's one. Getting lots of hits. We move back into this. You got one on too?
Missed him.
As soon as we drift out of this cabbage weed, we're not getting anything.
I'll get him for you.
He must be wrapped up around these weeds.
Yeah, I'm just putting on a glove here. And it's a Normart glove. And what we use it for, these pike are quite slippery, as anyone knows who's caught pike. It really aids in gripping them. And it aids in not getting hooks in your finger. And also it is better for the fish. Now the slime on the pike does serve a purpose. It's protective. It protects them from infections when they get cuts and wounds. It helps them to heal a lot quicker. And you'll notice on a lot of these pike, they're really scarred and wounded. And that's what that slime does. So the less of it you can remove, the better off for the pike's sake, that's for sure. So that's what this glove does, and a really good hold on them with it. You sure got that hook in there deep. And there you go. Get them tangled out of the cabbage here.
Here's one, TJ. Back in this little deeper weeds again.
Yeah. They seem to be hanging out here and right at the deep weed edge.
Not bad. Another 4 or 5 pounder.
Yeah.
Ooh, he went after that big spoon. I'm going to put that glove on.
Get him?
I will eventually. Not ready to come in yet.
No.
A little too much line out here, I think. There we go. Okay.
Now you saw him just as we were cruising out here, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I just cast back to him and about 3 cranks on the handle, and there he was.
Look at the size of his belly. Looks like he's been eating good.
He's full. I don't know why he went after this, but he got me.
Another one right behind him. I was just bringing this fish in. Another one cruised in right behind him to see what all the splashing was about. Quite often that'll happen when you're fishing in the weeds like this. You'll catch one and another one will come in, see what all the fuss is about. But quite often, you just, pitch another bait out right behind the guy who's got one on, it'll trigger another strike immediately. You got me tangled in the weeds, didn't you? Whoa, there we go.
Another right close to the boat.
Right at the boat. Looks like my hook was half covered in those weeds. This is just a smaller one. This is a classic summertime pattern we're fishing here. The deeper weed beds on the lake. And this lake we're fishing doesn't have a lot of weeds, like Bob said earlier. And we're fishing the deepest weeds you can find. Now, these are tall cabbage weeds. They're coming out at 10 feet. And that's where the pike are hanging. They get lots of cover down there. And there's lots of forage down there. Oh, thank you. So that's what they're doing here. And, we're fishing a northern lake here with lots of pike in it. But this lake will work, or this pattern will work on any lake that you fish that has pike in it. Now, the weed bed you're fishing may be a lot deeper. It could even be 20 or 30 feet. But these August and July and August kind of days, you want to fish those deepest weed beds you can find, and that's where your biggest pike are going to be hanging.
One of the most productive locations for big midsummer northern pike is deep water beds. Large patches of cabbage weed on the edge of sharp-breaking slopes are the key. These weeds may be located in anywhere from 10 to 30 feet of water. Bob and TJ are fishing one of these deep water jewels on today's show. The weeds grow to within a foot or two of the surface from depths of 10 to 16 feet. The pike are sitting anywhere from 3 to 10 feet down, with the active fish usually closer to the weed tops. On this week's show, the Gone Fishing team traveled to northern Saskatchewan's Crean Lake. Located approximately 120 miles north of Buffalo Narrows, this pristine shield lake is accessible only by air. Anglers traveling to Crean may drive directly to Buffalo Narrows, where they'll board a float plane and enjoy a leisurely 80-minute flight to the lake. Here you'll meet your hosts, Jack and Eileen O'Brien, and a number of the other camp residents. Chipmunks, geese, whiskey jacks, and black bears are all regulars around the camp. Jack and Eileen carved this luxurious facility out of the raw wilderness over 30 years ago. Their hard work and pride is reflected in the fully modern cabins, well-maintained fleet of boats, and great hospitality. Anglers are greeted by spectacular sunrises each morning as they head out in search of the lake's plentiful lake trout, northern pike, Arctic grayling, and walleye. And be sure to hold on tight to your rod. Crean's reputation as a producer of trophy fish is well earned. For an enjoyable and very affordable fly-in fishing experience, O'Brien's Crean Lake Lodge is hard to beat. Stay tuned as Bob and TJ share some more midsummer pike techniques.
Now these pike are pretty toothy critters, so we're using leaders on here as well. It sometimes takes away a little bit of the action of a crankbait, but if you don't use it with these pike, you're going to lose most of your baits. They've got teeth like razor blades.
Now fish like walleye and trout, you don't need leaders.
No, it's better to tie right direct, but these pike, if you're using a big enough bait and moving fast enough, usually you can get away without using a leader. They seem to kind of grab the back end of the bait and get hooked up, but these short baits, you're bound to lose.
Now we're using black leaders here too, and this water is fairly bog stained, and those leaders don't show up a lot, so like Bob was saying, it does hurt the action a bit, but the pike don't really notice them, and it saves the baits, and we land a lot more fish this way.
This white seems to be the color that they are interested in right here.
We're just skimming these baits across the top of the weeds. We've got some quite shallow running crankbaits on, and just cast them out and just going right over top of these weeds. Not a bad one.
Oh, I just had a follow too.
Did you?
Yeah.
You're right in the heart of these weeds. There he is. As we were talking about with the leaders, all you can see of my of my hook here is the leader.
Yeah, now if you wouldn't have had a leader on there, that bait would be gone for sure. Wow, he isn't ready yet.
I don't think I've ever been so wet fishing.
Oh, is he ever hooked too?
Right on the edge of this deep weed line.
Unhook him right in the water. There he goes.
You had a couple hits out there, didn't you?
Yeah, that was 2 casts in a row.
You've moved out considerably deeper.
I switched to a little smaller spoon again. The big one, I had some follows and they just weren't hitting it, so I switched to a little smaller one. We've been changing baits all day. Try a few casts, you don't get a hit, change to something else. Every once in a while we'll come across something that works for 10 or 15 minutes and then switch again.
And we started fishing with these big tandem spinnerbaits today and had a lot of follows, but the pike just wouldn't seem to hit them. They'd follow it right up to the boat, then turn away. Sometimes they'd sit there, but they'd never actually grab it. So what we did is we slowed our presentation down. And how we did that is we went to some floating crankbaits. And these do float, but when they when you're retrieving them, they dive, and when you stop, they'll start to slowly float up. So as the pike was following it, we could stop our retrieve and just let it slowly rise, and that's what enticed them to bite. Now, it seemed these shorter, fatter profile crankbaits were the ones that were doing the trick today. Now, this is a new rattling fat wrap, and it's got rattles inside of it. So that acts as a little bit of attractant, too. Some of the other hooks that worked well were the rattling wrap and the shallow running shad wrap. And both these run fairly shallow. We could get them across the top of the weeds. It seemed that the lighter colors worked best today. There's a lot of Cisco and whitefish in this lake, and that is the main forage, so that's why the lighter colors seemed to work best. Now, basically all we were doing was casting out and retrieving. We weren't always using a steady retrieve. We'd use a stop and go type retrieve, and that would, jerk it ahead, let it rise, jerk it ahead, let it rise. And that's what it seemed to take to entice the pike today.
Now, another bait that I tried for a while was a power slug from Berkeley. This is kind of a new style of bait. It's called a stick bait, or a soft plastic stick bait. And I'm just going to show you how to rig it up and how it works. I've got a 2/0 worm hook here, and these are very soft, and they're scent impregnated as well, so they help to attract the fish with a sense of smell. So first you just put the point of the hook through the nose of the worm, run it through till it comes right out the head of the worm, and in these sluggos there's a slot in the bottom. Put the hook point back through the center, so it just pokes through the top. And this way, if you leave the point just into the rubber, it acts quite weedless. Now, I've added a couple of split shot here for weight. We were fishing in weeds that were in, 16 or 17 feet of water. So I cast this out and let it fall down into the bottom of the weeds, and then just popped it back up. And it gives a real natural wounded bait fish action, and then the scent in there helps to attract the fish as well. As I mentioned, I added a couple of small split shot just to get it down a little quicker, and about an 18-inch wire leader. Those big pike can make short work of monofilament line. Now, another couple of the tools that we used today, one was a pair of polarized sunglasses to help look down into that clear water. You can see the pike follow from a long ways away. Another thing we used today was a Normark glove. Works great for grabbing those northern pike. And also some large capacity bait caster reels spooled with 10 to 17 pound test line for pulling those fish out of the weeds.
Really handy tool if you're pike fishing, or fishing anywhere there is pike, even if you're not pike fishing. And what you can do is just stick it in the pike's mouth, and like I said, slowly let it open. You don't want to let them spring open on their own, because that's hard on the fish's mouth. So just hold it and let them spring open enough. You can grab your hemostats, go in there. Now, these are quite long hemostats. You can dig right in, get that hook out. There's no danger of getting bit. You're not doing any harm to the pike. And the final thing that's nice to have, and especially at a lake like this, is the scale. And these new electronic scales are quite accurate. This one goes up to 50 pounds, and I'm sure there's fish in this lake where you could use it. So that was just some of the things we used today, and some of the things that will help you maybe with some of your fishing.
There is a variety of other techniques that you can use for pike, and the whole idea is to keep changing till you find something that works. Hear that? He's not done.
He ate the whole thing, too.
Yeah, he swallowed it. He was after it. Sometimes when nothing else is working, those rattle baits just seem to be just enough to attract them. We're still fishing this cabbage weed, and it's in a little deeper water. Watch your fingers. Use that rattle and wrap.
It's way down there. I'll let you do the honors.
Okay, just point that.
Big yap at you.
Wow. There's one.
I don't know if you can see how far down there that is, but he wanted it. Alrighty, get that out of there. Just hook through the mouth there.
Yeah, he's still around this treble here. Just let me get it over.
Okay.
It's one thing about these fish, they sure can get hooked. Okay, I'll get him back.
Alrighty.
It's a nice 6-7 pound pike.
You bet.
That's the third or fourth time you've been
Should be
showered down today.
Should be clean by the end of the day.
Just trying to go over this cabbage weed. There's one. Oh, feels like a good one, TJ. These soft plastic baits look so natural. I just got a 2/0 worm hook in it. Just a single hook. This feels like a pretty good fish. And it's very lifelike going through the weeds. Just pop it up, let it back down, and it looks like a wounded bait fish. Oh, this thing has got some weight. Unless it's wrapped around the weeds, it's a good fish.
Well, that could be possible too.
Yeah, there's lots of weeds here. I'd let that thing out a long ways as we were drifting. Wow, I got something on here pretty good.
Now, this is a bait that was also designed for bass fishermen, but it seems like the pike fishermen and even some of the trout fishermen have really picked up on this.
Well, and Berkeley is taking it one step further. They added they made a line of it in their power bait, so it's scent impregnated, and it really seems to make a difference. This thing is just like bringing in, maybe I got a log. That's what it feels like.
You were out there a ways.
I was out there a long ways. Well, we were drifting, and I just let it sit there in those cabbage weeds and just let it sit, and then I started popping it back.
There's a huge, huge cabbage bed out here. It's probably a mile square, and that's where all the fish are.
If this is a fit, it might be wrapped around in the weeds. It sure is heavy. Like I said, it feels like I'm bringing in a tree. Oh, there it is. Oh, there's no tree.
Get a good one? Oh!
That's got to be close to 20 pounds. There it is. Can you grab her? She ain't putting that much of a fight. Get her before she's over there. I don't know if she knows she's hooked.
I think she does.
Now she does. You're not going to be able to get your hand
I
around
don't think I can get my hand across her back.
Oh. This is fun.
They do hate when they see the boat.
I like this. I'm using quite heavy line with this stick bait.
Oh, I can't get my hand around her. Holy.
I got 17-pound test line on here and
I can't hold her.
And a wire leader.
Look at the size of that bait compared to her.
I can get this out of here. Wow, she was hooked good. Ouch. Now I'm hooked good. There it is.
Got it?
That's what I use, just this little rubber stick bait. That's fabulous.
Let's get her back in the water.
Let's get her back in and get after some more. We got lots of teeth. Sometimes you just grab by the tail. I was just gonna say, you just squeeze the tail and they're gone.
All right.
Nice fish.
Way to go, Bob. That was a beautiful fish.
Let's get another one.
Well, it's been a fabulous day out here at Crean Lake. 2 monster pike. I mean, 20 pounds. It's been unreal. The pike just been going crazy. I can't say enough about this place. We'd like to thank Jack and Eileen O'Brien for showing us such a great time up here.
Make sure to join us next time on Gone Fishing.